Becky and her brother Cal travel by car to San Diego. Cal pulls over near a church when Becky, who is currently pregnant, gets nauseous. Becky is having second thoughts about the trip. Cal assures her that she has made the correct decision. Becky believes she hears something just before they're ready to leave. In the dense grass, a child is yelling for help. Cal decides to pull the car off the road and park near the church, so they may assist the boy who has called for help. The youngster says he's been stuck in the grass for days. We come upon a book lying face down on the side of the road near the fields. A woman can also be heard on the grass urging the boy to stop calling. Cal assumes the kid is near the road and chooses to step in to assist. Becky keeps a careful eye on Cal while dialing 911 on her smartphone. Becky believes she has lost Cal in the grass after losing reception. Becky then advises them to return to the car and ask for assistance since something doesn't feel right. Becky recites a rhyme, "There once was a woman named Jill," to identify each other by sound. Cal notices Becky's voice bouncing from his right, then immediately from his left. They agree to jump to locate each other. They're close on the first jump, but on the second jump, they appear to be considerably farther apart, even though none of them has made a single step. In a panic, Cal resolves to dash toward Becky. As the sun sets, they are both still stuck in the field. Becky becomes exhausted and simply sits there waiting for Cal to find her. As she rests there, a man called Ross approaches her and offers to assist her to get out of the field. He claims to have discovered a way out but has not left since he is searching for his wife Natalie and son Tobin. Ross invites Becky to accompany him as they search for Cal. She has no option but to put her confidence in him. Cal contacts Becky repeatedly but receives no response. Tobin, the kid who had called for help earlier, emerges from the grass as he sits there disheartened. He comforts Cal by saying that it's easier to find things when they're dead. Cal wonders if Tobin lured them into the field, but Tobin claims he and his family walked in because they heard a guy screaming for help. Tobin claims that the rock teaches you how to listen to the grass, which is how you learn about things. Cal inquires about Becky's location once again, so Tobin brings him to her. Ross and Becky both mention her child. Ross deduces from Becky's body language that the baby's father is not present. Becky discovers medication bottles and scissors on the ground on their walk, and is confused as to how these items ended up there. Ross is not seen when Becky looks up. She calls for him but receives no response, so she calls Cal. However, something from the grass grabs her and drags her in. Tobin leads Cal to the enigmatic large rock and encourages him to touch it. We hear murmurs and what appear to be tribal chants as Cal approaches it. We hear Becky screaming just before Cal touches it, so he goes in her way. Tobin urges him not to go in there, but he ignores him and rushes to Becky. A truck pulls over at a petrol station on the same road as the church on a clear sunny day. It's Travis, Becky's ex, and is searching for Becky and Cal. Travis continues his quest and comes to Becky and Cal's car, which is parked near the church. He examines the automobile, which appears to have been parked for several weeks. He calls and searches for them but receives no response. He enters the church to find them, but it is abandoned. He notices the book on the ground on his way out. When he picks it up, he notices Becky's name on it. Then, Travis chooses to enter the grassy field where he believes they went. Travis bends the grass and tracks the son to remain aware of how to get back. Unfortunately, the grass untangles itself. Then Travis learns the son he was trying to monitor isn't in the right place. He becomes perplexed but continues to move till nightfall. He becomes exhausted and pauses, lying down on the ground. He looks at Becky's portrait, missing her so much. Travis is startled when Tobin appears out of nowhere. In the dense grass, they can hear whispering and laughing. When Tobin tells Travis that he knows his name, Travis becomes concerned. Tobin informs Travis that he is aware that he is searching for Becky and that he can lead him to her. Travis follows him and discovers Becky's body in the middle of the field. He came up to her and started crying. When Travis looked up, Tobin had vanished. Travis awakens the next morning to find Becky's lifeless body alongside him. He takes up a necklace from her body and resumes his journey. We now see a clean Tobin standing outside the field of grass, accompanied by his mother, Natalie, Ross, his father, and Freddie, his dog. It is at this point that we know there is a time loop. Freddie dashes into the field, and Tobin follows. Natalie, his mother, attempts to intervene. Travis notices Tobin is outside the field and urges him not to return, but it's too late. Ross and Natalie are initially together, but Natalie fears she hears Tobin close and splits up. As night strikes, Ross is still searching for his family. Ross discovers the weird rock. The next morning, we hear Tobin begging for help while Becky and Cal are once again just outside of the field. Travis is already on the tall grass field. He calls Becky again as soon as he hears her voice, and this time both Becky and Cal hear him and respond. Becky is puzzled by Travis's presence there. Travis informs them that he has come to look for them. Tobin begins chanting the rhyme Becky stated at the opening of the film. Travis locates Tobin by following the sound of his voice. Becky does as well and gets reunited with Travis. Cal eventually appears, and they discover Freddie the dead dog. When Travis informs them that they have been gone for 2 months, the scenario becomes more strange. Becky and Cal don't believe him because they only traveled 2 days earlier, according to them. Becky suspects that they are being watched. Travis lifts Tobin onto his shoulders so he can have a better look at finding a route out for them. Fortunately, he notices a building and they begin heading toward it. Cal asks Travis whether he notified anybody about them in the hopes that someone will come looking for them, but Travis answers no. Becky is experiencing abdominal aches. Becky and Travis discuss the baby. Becky informs Travis that it is a girl, whom she refers to as Ginny. He puts his hand on her stomach and attempts to feel the baby. Suddenly, they receive a phone call from Becky, who begs them not to let Cal harm Travis since they will keep making the same mistake. As Becky stands right there with them, listening to the call, it all seems surreal. They continue to move. Someone is watching them through the grass as they walk on. Becky slips and falls in the mud. She has bizarre visions of a baby, thick grass, and strange people approaching her. She faints while Cal and Travis rush up to her. Ross arrives and attempts to save her. He claims to be able to lead them out. Travis informs him about the structure they spotted. He lifts Tobin again, but this time he can't see the building. Ross, bizarrely, claims that this is how things actually work in there. They approach the rock again as they continue going. It's a massive rock with intricate engravings all over it. Strangely, Ross is aware of its history and tells it to them. He encourages Cal to touch it, but Natalie appears from the grass and stops him. Surprisingly, Natalie tells her spouse to keep away from them. She informs them that Ross is deceiving them. She also informs them that she previously met Becky and Ross, but Becky was not living, and Ross attempted to harm Natalie. Ross denies this. Becky has another vision while they talk, this time of Ross in the grass. She strongly advises Travis and Cal to leave. They try to persuade Natalie and Tobin to accompany them, but Ross orders them to touch the rock. Travis and Ross have an argument that escalates into a brawl. Becky yells at Cal and begs him to assist Travis, but he refuses. Ross insists that Travis touch the rock to learn everything the grass knows. Ross abandons Travis and goes for Natalie, slamming her skull with his bare fists. As they flee from Ross, Tobin notices Freddie and pursues him. They all pursue him till they arrive at an abandoned building. Travis and Cal start arguing because they blame one another for the situation. Cal accuses Travis of leaving Becky and claims Travis wanted Becky to have an abortion. Becky wants to punish both of them. Travis believes Cal only wants to be with Becky, so Cal punches Travis. The two begin to fight. Ross catches up and attempts to bust down the door. They all rush to the roof and search for a way out. They see the church across the field, but they have to go through the grass to get there. Travis notices Freddy, but he vanishes into the grass. They believe there is a hole that will take them out. Travis tries to get a better view of the field by standing on the edge of the roof, but he slips and falls to the ground since Cal does not try to save him. When Tobin meets Cal, he attempts to explain, but Ross approaches. They all flee once more, and Becky inquires about Travis and refuses to go without him. Cal has enraged her because she believes he has done something to Travis. She takes a step away from him. Cal attempts to pursue her, but Ross detains him since he knows the truth about him and Travis. Cal tries to flee, but Ross would not allow him and holds him down. We then notice several dead bodies on the grass as Cal battles for his life. Travis stands up and begins hunting for Becky once more. They can hear each other, but not see one another. Travis informs Becky that Cal loves her far too much. They both lie on the grass and reminisce about their child. Travis shares his delight at Becky's choice to keep their baby. Becky admits that she was not planning to keep the child, which is why they were traveling to San Diego. There was a family interested in the unborn baby. Travis consoles her and promises to find a way out. Ross assaults Becky. She responds with the keys from her pocket, but Ross disarms her. Becky takes the scissors from the ground and stabs Ross in the eye. Becky bolts. It begins to rain. Becky notices people approaching her from all sides. The grass is sprouting out of the people. They seize her and she vanishes into the grass. Becky had collapsed in the mud in front of the rock. She takes out her phone and dials a number. It's the same call they heard earlier about Cal not hurting Travis. She notices the same folks approaching her. She cries in agony as she delivers the baby. She can hear the baby's cries but cannot see her. On the ground, a trench appears. Becky stood on the ledge, staring into it. She watches a large number of individuals hanging to the branches of an ancient tree, attempting to escape. She cries and flees. Becky falls exhausted after some time has passed. She gently opens her eyes and asks questions about the baby. Cal, who is present, attempts to calm her down and provides her with some water. He shows her a baby he is holding. Becky is glad to see her. She shuts her eyes once again. Cal attempts to feed her grass. She is really hungry, so she does not object and consumes it. Becky suddenly realizes she is possibly eating her flesh. Travis is severely hurt, yet he continues to look for Becky. He eventually reaches her and discovers her unconscious. Becky flashed her eyes and asked questions about the baby once more. Travis feels her stomach and discovers the baby is no longer there. He breaks down in tears because he is sad. Tobin informs him that his father murdered both the infant and Cal. Tobin claims that it will never end. Travis holds Tobin and tells him he won't allow anybody to hurt him as he begins to grieve. Travis yells and asks Ross if he wants to murder him. Ross emerges from the grass and assaults Travis. He attempts to murder him. Travis is knocked to the ground as Ross hits him with a bone. Tobin tries to flee, but Ross catches up with him. He holds him and forces him to touch the rock, but Becky stands up and strikes him from behind. He walks away from Tobin, and Becky collapses again. Travis gets to his feet and smacks Ross's head on the rock. He then attempts to suffocate him by wrapping the grass around his neck. Travis strangles Ross and moves on to Becky. He cries as he embraces her. Then he stares at the rock and considers touching it. Tobin attempts to warn and dissuade him by stating that if he touches it, he would be unable to escape. Travis disregards him and touches it nonetheless. He senses something. A bright crimson glow shines from the rock and spreads across the field. Travis seems strange. Tobin is terrified of him, but Travis grabs his hand and urges him to accompany him. Both begin to run. Travis claims he will not go, but Tobin must. He requests that he go out and tell Becky and Cal not to enter the field. Travis transports Tobin out of the field and into the church's attic. He moves gently along the hall after opening the door. When he gets out, he finds Becky and Cal's car parked on the side of the road. They are both preparing to approach the field since they heard someone crying for assistance. Tobin rushes over and stops them. As he attempts to explain it to them, his voice can still be heard from the field, but Tobin tells him not to worry about it. As the voice keeps calling, Cal moves closer to the field in search of help. He hands Becky the necklace, which appears to be ancient and worn out. Travis, according to Tobin, gave it to him. Cal is ready to walk onto the field when Becky stops him. Becky is uncomfortable and requests to leave. They all rush into the vehicle, taking Tobin with them. Cal starts the car, and Becky urges him to return rather than continue their journey. Cal inquires about the family to whom they plan to give the kid, but Becky responds that she now has her own family. Travis is listening in on their conversation from within the field, and is pleased with her choice. He lies injured on the grass, and the grass covers him. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.